All right, so I am in Houston for work, staying at the lovely C. Baldwin, which was a much better choice than the Whitehall. Even though I love me some southerly hotels, it just, for a 5-day stint, it's not gonna work. So did a little bit of an upgrade, went down the street, and I'm here, and you can just see it's an amazing little thing. Like, come on, look at this. So cute. So cute. Okay, anyway, so I've got a little time to spare. And so I am going to go to Meow Wolf. You heard that, didn't stutter. This thing's called Meow Wolf. It's this really cool, weird art installation. So I'm going to go there, I'm going to do the thing, and see what type of a fever dream this thing really is. I'm excited. Okay, so it's the next morning, 6:30. I'm up, obviously, because I'm crazy. Let's talk a little bit about Meow Wolf and my thoughts on it. I thought it was a fun trip, and a trip in a really good way. So obviously Meow Wolf is known for these outlandish, colorful, otherworldly sort of exhibits that meld community artists, technology, family-friendly, adventures, etc., into an interesting meld of a good time. Now, personally, I view everything through the lens of my late grandmother. God bless her. She was an artist, and she dragged me to every single solitary art exhibit that she could. We spent hours and hours and hours just wandering exhibits, and she taught me how to interpret art, to understand what the artist was trying to say, and view it through that lens. So, Meow Wolf being an art exhibit, I can't help but, look at it through that lens. And I have to think that if I had taken my grandmother, if I had taken Honey to Meow Wolf, she would have found it fascinating, just because she loved art in all forms. However, if I was to take her with my niece and nephew and some other people in my family, and she was just to watch everybody have so much fun and enjoy art, she would have been delighted. She would have been in another world. I don't know if she would have gotten it, but she would have thought it was beautiful and interesting and engaging, and she just would have, it would have blown her mind. And she would have been smiling from ear to ear, watching the kids just completely enjoy themselves. So I will say for myself, I got lost in the storyline a little bit. I obviously I'm a tech guy. I'm a tech nerd. So when they said, download this app, I downloaded the app and I started kind of scrolling through it. I'm like, okay, how does the app work? How do the exhibits interact with the app? And I think I got a little bit too wrapped up in the app to really truly understand what was going on. So the reason why I wanted to wait until the morning to interpret this is because I wanted to do some research, and I was finally able to kind of find some information about the Meow Wolf storyline. And in Houston, it's about this radio station that gets torn from its dimensional fabric, lands in this sort of middle space between worlds, and the characters end up being apparently the employees at the radio station. And actually, I kind of clocked this, because when you first walk into the radio station, there's a wall of all these photos of people who work in the radio station, and I recognized one of them as one of the characters, the one with a clothes bin on our head, and it was really fascinating to like just watch the interplay. And it's not, obviously, none of it is direct. They don't tell you the storyline. You figure it out on your own. So theoretically, you're supposed to take the app and the clues and the art exhibit and the interactive performances, and that's supposed to kind of get you, into the whole idea. And there's some Easter eggs thrown in from some of the other Meow Wolves around the country. And so the question in my mind was it worth it? I completely think it's worth it. I had so much fun. Actually, a coworker called me in the middle of the frickin' the exhibit, and he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I couldn't tell you if I tried." Now, here's the one thing that I do say that was a little annoying.
I literally just took a work coat. Manav asked me where I was. I couldn't explain it to him if I tried. I can't find the exit. I want barbecue and I can't find the exit. Help me.
I couldn't find my way out. I wanted to be there for about an hour and a half. And then I started to get hungry, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to order some barbecue in. And yeah, it took me about 20 minutes to figure out where the exit was. But in doing so, you get lost. You go through interdimensional portals, through a refrigerator. You step into a bathroom, and suddenly it's this weird radio frequency room. It is an interesting exhibit, and it's clearly made to go back over and over and over again, because if I ever came back here and I went to Meow Wolf again, I would have interpreted it in a whole different way, or I will interpret it in a whole different way. Now, what I will say is that they have this kind of local community artist thing going on. So like not just in the exhibit itself, but in the gift shop. And I bought my husband a ton of stuff because this is the stuff that he loves. Absolutely. So do I recommend going to Meow Wolf? If you are a family with kids, absolutely 100% run, don't walk. I think it is such a good way to spend a day, an afternoon, whatever. I think it's fun. If you are an individual person, I still think it's worth it. It's an odd sort of thing. If I had to go back and do it all again, I probably would have stayed a little bit longer. I would have dedicated like almost an entire afternoon to it. And I really would have kind of like tried to get the whole narrative. Now, that being said, hindsight being 2020, I don't think you can get the narrative in a single visit. I think you go and you experience it and you get to know the space, and you get to know the concept, because this is my very first Meow Wolf. This is my very first Meow Wolf. So once I got done with this thing, once I got done with the whole thing and I started doing some research, it all starts kind of falling into place. So if I go back, I will be better able to kind of like, okay, well, where do I go with that? Where do I go with that? Okay, well, if I, twist this knob, I'm going to get, something new and interesting. It's just, it will be a whole different experience. But the first time is always super interesting. So I do recommend Meow Wolf. I had so much fun. And I do think that my grandmother would absolutely adore the Meow Wolf concept, if only because it opens up art to so many more people. And I think that anything that expands art's accessibility, not just, putting it out there for people to see, but like getting people involved in it, because it's like, these are really well done exhibits. Like the detail in some of these things and the way that they integrate technology, it is so freaking cool. I loved every minute of it, honestly. And the performers just added another layer to it. I'm so glad they included interactive performances. I'm so glad they engineered this for kids. Because it's so much fun. So again, Meow Wolf Radio Tape in Houston, totally, completely a fan of this now. And I want to go to the Meow Wolves in other cities now that I get the concept.
Oh my God, guys! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we just did it! Come on! Yeah, we did it because of you, and because of you, sir, you did it okay. Great, Nathan. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to play this one life we all have. This was phenomenal.